Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be having a little React project, and this will be created with React, TypeScript and Sass. And you all know React is just a JavaScript library, and TypeScript is superset of JavaScript, which I call JavaScript on steroid. So what we're trying to achieve basically today is just to have a kind of like simulation of typing, and without wasting so much time, I'm just going to dive right into the project. So right now I have the React app set up, and if you want to do the same, all you just need to do is create React app to use the boilerplate. Then the name of your app, in my case I'm having AutoTyper. Then you also add this flag to get the TypeScript boilerplate set up. And also, if you want to use Sass is just a CSS library, and I mean it's okay to just use CSS because what we're doing is pretty basic. So Yan had node Sass, and also the types node Sass. So once you have this, you click enter and you're good to go. All right, so what I've done basically so far is just to have like a dark background, and I have that in my index.scss, where I have the color to be white, so the texts are gonna be white and the background is just dark. So without wasting so much time, let's create a component folder. And the first thing I would like to achieve is the pipe, just like I have. Take this off now. So the first thing I want to achieve is to have this, the pipe just bleeping. And of course, there are so many ways we can do this. We can have like just CSS and use keyframes, but I'm going to be taking a slightly different approach. I'll be doing everything all in JavaScript. You're free to create a keyframe where you're showing and hiding it, or just like you're transforming from like dark to white, or whichever way you deem fit. But right here I'll just do it in JavaScript, and I'll be using the new React lifecycle hook. So here the first thing I want is this will be span, and I just want create a border. Let's use border right or border left, whichever, and that would be 1 pixel solid and white. All right, so now that we have the border, let's import this into our app component. We have the pipe, and hopefully we should be able to see this. Okay, this will be in line. Display, let's make this in line block. All right, so when you make it like a block element, then you're able to like increase the height, or so it's easy, like you can increase it to whatever you want thereafter. So let's just make this, let's say 10. And actually what I'm going to be doing here, instead of passing this, I'm going to be making this a prop. So we'll be passing this to the child component, the parent component rather. So I'll create an interface, and let's say iPipe props. And just okay, so we have the height, and I expect this to be a number. All right, so this is going to be a functional component, pass the props right here. I buy props, okay. And I need to import this also. So right here, I'm just going to destructure the height from this. Okay, I need to close this. Okay, now we have the height property here, and by using destructuring, you can, this height is just the same as having this. So now this is going to complain. I need to pass the height property here, and the height has to be number. So in our case, let's say 20, and we still have this. Okay, good. So what do we want to achieve here? So we want to like have this like blipping, you know, going on and off, visible and hidden. So of course, like I mentioned, you could use CSS to do to achieve this, but I'm going to be using JavaScript, and I'll be using the new lifecycle. So you have the initial state, you have the state, and you also have like this, which you use to set the state. And I'll be using this use state, and the initial state will be false. So what I want to do is like, I want this to show or not show, right? So what we can do to achieve this is to use effects, and what's going to happen is it's just like component did mount. You can use this hook for like the equivalent on the state component would be like component did mount or component did update, and you can do stuff like that. So basically, yeah, what I want to do is I want to set the show to true, right? But instead of setting it to true, I just want to toggle it. So I'll get the present state, which is show, and you know, it keeps turning it to on and off. So I have that. But since we want this to occur like at intervals, we could use like just set interval. So what I'm going to be doing here is like, I'm going to create like a function to like maybe toggle show or something like that. And basically what this is going to be doing is I'll be using the set timeout. Set interval rather. So I have the set interval, and we have the anonymous function. So what I want to do here is to toggle this. So I'm going to take this from here and take this into the function. So I want to toggle that, and I want to do that, let's say every 600 milliseconds rather. And here I have this toggle show. So one thing I could do is, you know, when you're creating a timer, I have my timer here, which is just basically toggle show, and I'm gonna invoke that. Yeah, okay. We need to do this. So we have this, and the next thing is you want to do like return. So this is more like component did update, and when it's updated, you know, here we want to like clear the interval, and so we want to like watch this show. This isn't really necessary in this case, but I could do this in the meantime. But this is like this is more like if you want to check a state and you want to prevent like updating depending on if the state has changed or not. If it has not changed, then it's going to stay that way. So what you would have in class component, you could have like pure component doing this, or like having this kind of checking the previous and present state and stuff like that. So that's what this is meant for. So now I have the timer here, and it's setting this to show or like not show. So one thing we could do here is like also add a property to this, and the property I'm gonna add is visibility. So here what we want to do is to show if it's off or on. So if it's show, then hidden. Otherwise we could have like visible, it should be visible. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. So we could actually take this out and put it here and say should show. Just put it out here and bring it here. Should show. Okay, so now you see we have this like blipping going on and off, and now that we have that, set this up. Let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, so now that we have this pipe, we have it in our component. The next thing we want to achieve is like being able to type the text automatically and stuff like that. So actually I'm going to change this to a class component also. So again, I'm going to bring my pipe, and I need to include the heights, and the heights, let's say 20 here. Okay, I need to import the source file. And class name equals app. So we're trying to center this like we have here. We don't need others actually anymore, so we can just leave this now. So we will go here. The next thing we want to achieve is, now that we have this coming on and off, we need our text, and we need to, let's create that in another component. All right, we have this. Just gonna create the class functional component real quick, and let's say we have our text here, and let's call this introduction message, and we have just some, I'm just gonna copy that. I have something here. I'll put that in here. So I have this now, and I can just render this. Let's return that actually. Introduction message. All right, let's import that here. We have the text component. All right, so we have all this showing up, and this is not what we want. We want to, I'll give this a title actually, introduction, I would say, about Weibo. So we have something like this, but we don't want all the text out. And again, there are so many ways you can do this, but let's think about this. Let's break this down. We have a lot of text, and one thing we could do is have like a string and just concatenate this one by one, right? So that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna have like my intro, and also set my intro, and the initial is gonna be this, use states, and actually I'm gonna use an object here, and I'll tell you why. I need to use an object here because I need the, let's say the characters, right? That's each of the characters, and I also gonna be getting, I need to import use state here, use state, and also the counter. So say counter, character counter, and this will start at 0. All right, so now I have this. So what I want to do is every time the initial character is going to be like just a string, and at every step we're going to be increasing the count and concatenating every one of these characters into this character value. Okay, so one way we can do that is, of course, when the component mounts, use effect. So when that happens, we want to set this. So I want to like set my intro, and a good way to do this, I'm gonna take this out first. Update intro, and this is just gonna, first thing we want to do here is we have the updated intro, and you know this works slightly differently from what we have in the class component, where you say like set state and it just like updates the state, update whichever value you have there. This you have to like update everything manually. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting the old state, which would be my intro. I'm going to be spreading that, and now I need to update other values. So the first thing I'm going to do is the character counter. I need to increase that, and I'm going to be getting the old state, right, with the character counter and incrementing that. And also the character, this is what I'm going to do to the character. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to be incrementing this and going through this text. So to achieve that, I need to use my intro dot character. So it's empty at first, plus, so I'm concatenating to this introduction message and going through the introduction message one by one. So this time I'm using the counter. So one way we could try to reduce the boilerplate code is just to destructure characters and character counter. We're going to destructure that from my intro. So with that done, we don't need to do this anymore. We can just get this right away. And also character counter here. So this is going to be incrementing and concatenating to this one by one. And once we have the updated intro, then we can set my intro to the updated intro. Oh, sorry, I missed the letter. Updated intro. Okay, yeah, nice. So we have this. And what we want to do here is just like set at every interval. We want to update. We want to update that. Update intro at every interval, and let's, for now, let's just say every like 800 milliseconds. And we have the timer here. Again, we need to clear this. All right, so let's watch my intro. And here we're just gonna return and clear interval timer. Okay, So instead of showing this, now we're going to be showing, remember we already deconstructed these characters from the object. So we can just say characters and let's see what happens. So you see every second, every 800 seconds, then these are coming out. We can increase this to 200. So now it's coming. But of course, when you're typing, like you're typing at different intervals. So what we could do is like just get some kind of like random numbers between two numbers. So I have that already. So I'm just gonna copy this real quick and put this in utils. Utils.tsx. So what we want is random number between or within. So that's just, we have something like, okay, so this is just like getting the random number starting from the minimum to maximum. Now we can use that. I'm not gonna go into details now because I want this video to be as quick as possible. Okay, so one thing we could do from then, instead of like having this number just hard coded, let's like get random number within. Now it's gonna import that. So I'm getting random number within, let's say 10 milliseconds and just like 200 milliseconds. So now I have this like typing at different interval pace. And what else do we need to consider? Of course, this is going to continue even after exhausting it. So we need to know once this is done. And how can we achieve that? Of course, we can check to see if that is complete already, if it already reached the end of this. And how can we do that? By, we can say intro exhausted or completed is intro completed. So how do we do that? We compare this introduction message, if the length of that is equal to the length of the characters we have here. If these are equal, then we know it's exhausted. So what we want to do is, I'm going to take this up actually. So we want to keep updating the intro until this is exhausted. So what we could do here is like is intro check, do the check here. If this is true, then this is gonna continue. But when this is false, then it's gonna stop. That's how this is gonna work. At first, then you see this is gonna be false until they are equal. So I need to use the reverse of this. So this is false, then all this while this is going to be false, then the negation of false is true. So this will continue until it's exhausted. And actually I'm going to change the font to be a little bit bigger. Okay, and this to span. So let's style this a bit, and font size to be like 20 pixel. Then font style should be italic. Okay, now looks like oh. So actually I'm gonna increase the height of that in half, and maybe increase this to 30 or 40 maybe. Okay, maybe 30. And also increase the thickness here, the pipe, maybe increase this to 2. So now we have that. Of course you can always do stuff like adding sound to it and stuff like that, and you know, you can change the pace here. You can maybe make this like 2000 or whatever, or just to 400, depending on whatever you want. You can just like fine tune this, but this is just to like give you the idea of how you might play around with this and what you could do with this. And you can maybe use this in your portfolio project and just have this kind of like intro. Then you can also delete this, so you do the reverse. And that's all. Thanks guys for watching, and this is it. Thank you.